Ricardo Anaya, PAN's leader in the Senate, leveled harsh criticism at the government. He demanded that Rocha Moya's statement be made public, warned about the risks of the USMCA, and denounced that the government is manipulating security statistics. So in this video, I'll tell you all the details of what he said. With data and reports in hand, Ricardo Anaya has become one of the biggest critics of the current government by pointing out failures in security, international trade, and transparency. For example, Anaya referred to the case of the governor on leave from Sinaloa, Rocha Moya. The senator demanded that the statement given by the Morena party member to the Attorney General's office, which was sealed for 5 years, be made public. He said, "If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear," and argued the government would release the document if there was nothing to conceal. In addition, she called for Rocha to be arrested and handed over to the authorities in the United States, where he faces accusations of alleged ties to crime. Along those same lines, she criticized the government for investigating the involvement of the United States in the capture of Mayo Zambada, but not the accusations that the drug trafficker himself made about members of Morena being involved with crime.
Rocha Moya's statement should be made public and he should be handed to US authorities for prosecution on drug trafficking charges. I mean, they're more concerned about whether the United States was involved in the capture of Mayo Zambada than about what Mayo has said in the US regarding his ties to Morena.
On another topic, the PAN member also strongly criticized the federal government's strategy regarding the review of the treaty between Mexico, the United States, and Canada. The senator described it as terrible news that Mexico did not manage to get a 16-year extension for the agreement and is now subject to periodic reviews. According to Anaya, this new scenario will open the door to increasingly complicated negotiations in which the United States will have a stronger position compared to Mexico. She also pointed to the heavy trade dependence on the country's main trading partner, noting that 84% of Mexican exports are destined for the United States. For this reason, she warned that the consequences could directly affect the national economy, since what is at stake is the employment of millions of Mexicans.
We regret the failure of the Mexican government in the renegotiation of the free trade agreement, and we demand that efforts be redoubled, because in the end, it is people's jobs that are at stake. Remember that the United States is the destination for 84% of all our exports.
Finally, regarding security, Ricardo Anaya also questioned the government for boasting about a decrease in homicides and called that narrative a vulgar and grotesque lie, claiming that it is based on manipulated official statistics. In that sense, he alleged that state prosecutors' offices may have received training to reclassify homicides and artificially lower the official numbers. According to the senator, instead of recording them as intentional homicides, many cases are classified as negligent homicides, injuries or other crimes against life, which distorts the statistics. To support his argument, he presented several examples. He stated that in Baja California Sur, only 17 intentional homicides were reported during the first 4 months of 2026. However, he pointed out that there are 116 deaths recorded under the category of other crimes against life. Thus, he believes this reclassification artificially reduces homicide numbers, making the violence seem up to 7 times lower than it is. According to the senator, this same pattern is repeated in states such as Chiapas, Hidalgo, Quintana Roo, Zacatecas, and Veracruz, which is why he insisted that the government is manipulating the security statistics.
In other words, what the government is announcing is that homicides have decreased again. The way the government is lying is grotesque and vulgar. Apparently, since this statistic is kept by the state attorney's offices, they gave a course to the state prosecutors' offices to manipulate, to doctor the numbers.
What do you think of Ricardo Anaya's criticisms? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks!